Hi, Sarah. It's great to see you again. How are you?
Hi, Abe. So good to see you. I'm great. Thanks for asking. It's autumn, my favorite season of the year.
That's great. Well, I know that last time we spoke with Alice, and I was saying to her when I talked to her that you guys were having your own conversation, which was great. But we'll get to sort of dig a little deeper today on some of the questions, and especially because season two, the back half has been really interesting. I haven't seen the finale yet, so we can
Me
talk
either.
confidently until then.
Yes,
Um,
okay, great. I mean, I know what happens with my character, but I haven't actually seen the finale because I want to wait until it's the finale. We're actually going to have a little party here in our beautiful apartment for some of our castmates that are in LA. So we're very excited.
that's wonderful.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, there's been a lot of really great stuff for Asta. The first thing that I saw was the big twist with Goliath. The just sort of that she was the one who figured it out. Harry had absolutely no idea.
Yeah, right. He's still just sort of, I think, reeling in that scene. I think he's processing and putting it together. Like, how did I not know that? Is sort of what I got from Alan on the day. But I also always find those kinds of scenes in television fascinating when you have to take in information quickly and then sort of put it together like a puzzle in front of everyone and then have a discovery. So it was such a fun scene to shoot, and also so incredible. What a surprise for our audience and for us when we were reading it. Because I kept guessing myself while we were shooting, who's Goliath? Who's Goliath? And I was wrong the entire time. I don't know if other audience members guessed that, but I never did,
What
for
was your
sure.
theory?
I think Sheriff Mike is suspect. Okay. Like I don't know what it is about him, but I just think he's suspect. I don't know if it's like we're gonna find out at some point he already always knew, or I don't know. I just feel like he seems so out of it, and so, which is great about his dynamic with Deputy Liv, who's really in the know. But wouldn't it be a fun twist one day if Sheriff Mike was like, I'm an alien? Or if he was like, I knew all along. I just wanted to, I don't know. There's something about him that's clever that I'm keeping my eye on.
Well, there was also that thing when Asta got her memory wiped by Harry that when she realized what happened, she seemed to sort of remember things. And so I wonder if because Mike and Liv had their memories wiped also, if somebody like clued them into one thing, they would just suddenly all come flowing back to them. But that's a season 4 or 5 development. I don't think we want
Yeah,
to get there just
exactly.
yet.
Right. Which we're gonna have, by the way.
Well, I
Okay.
think having a 16 episode second season is a pretty impressive thing for just any TV show this this day and age, and that's exciting to know that season 3 is on the way.
We recently had an article come out for Syfy's 30th birthday, and they listed us as the top 13 best series of all time on their network, which I was so honored, but even more honored that we were right underneath Battlestar Galactica, which I was like, I'm such a fan.
Well, talking to Alice about like the Star Trek fan base and the Resident Alien fan base, I think unfortunately the Battlestar Galactica fan base is also much bigger. But I don't know. I feel like this is such an under the radar show, even for fans of Firefly. I feel like everybody should be watching this, and I'm not sure why it hasn't blown up to the most popular thing yet.
You know what I think it is? I think Syfy is we have such a loyal fan base, and it's such a clever network because they're always trying new and different things. But I think, coming from someone who used to not watch sci-fi content very often, like Star Wars was the max, maybe Lord of the Rings, I did a little Harry Potter, but I'm not like, it wasn't until Battlestar Galactica that I watched on Syfy that I got really invested in like how a story can be told in this amazing galactic genre. And I had never really been into that before. And so I feel like Syfy sometimes gets a bad rap because people are like, oh, like I don't want to watch that kind of stuff. But what they're missing out on is this incredible writing and this incredible, what is really a small town family like drama that has just a lot of comedy at its core. And I feel like that is what people would be the most surprised by if they would just check our show out. But it's easy. Like if you're not a sci-fi person and you just are like, no, I could see how people might not check it out. But I think word of mouth is starting to pick up speed, and I don't know, our work shows for itself. It's a really strong show.
Yep, I certainly talk to everyone about it. So, have you seen Resident Alien? And the answer is usually no. But the
Yes.
next question is why not?
I went to New York to visit one of my best friends, and I pleaded her not to say anything to her neighbors who she wanted me to like meet, because they were just like, they're, she was kind of like introducing me to the neighborhood, like, because they got a new house. And I just was like, please don't say anything about the show, because I know they're not going to have seen it. Like, I was like, I will market it on my own time, but like, I don't want to take up any. And she just like blurted out, she's on Resident Alien. And they were like, what's that? But then they got excited about it and they were like, we're going to look for it now. So to be fair, I was in the wrong, because I think any opportunity you have to like tell someone about it is a good opportunity.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. One of the storylines that I liked a lot this season was Asta's, well, the difficult one, of course, was Asta meeting her birth mother. And my prediction for how that would turn out afterwards came true, which was that she would be inspired to show Jay how much she cared, rather than to sort of wallow in the fact that she's never going to have that relationship that she wanted. But what can you share about the process of that whole plot line?
Man, that was such a tragedy, right? Like what a train wreck. Like, I mean, the fact that I finally find this letter, I don't even know that exists. I confront my dad about it. It's a layered cake of like, why didn't you tell me? And also, I understand why you didn't tell me. To show up at her door thinking there's no way I'm going to find her, for her to be there, and then for her to not give two shits about me. I mean, to be fair, like, that is real. That is very real. And one of my favorite lines that she says in the scene is like, oh, so she's not your daughter anymore. Like, and that just is key. It just shows you how my mother thinks about motherhood, and I just think that is the through line for her. What an incredible actress. And I just was so floored and gutted that day while we were shooting. But you're right, Abe. It gave me such fuel to turn around and do the right thing with my own daughter, to know that life is short, and like, say what you want to say and tell the people you love that you love them before it's too late.
Yeah, yeah. You also got to share, I think, just one very short scene with Terry O'Quinn. What was that like?
Get out of here. I love Terry. It was okay. I was a Lost fan. I also was a Rocketeer fan. I mean, I've known Terry's work since I was much younger, and but a huge John Locke fan. I wanted John Locke, for anyone who saw Lost, to like be the one. I wanted him to be the one. And I was rooting for him. So when I finally got to meet him in person, he's just as charming and wonderful as you think. His stillness on screen is so inspiring. He's such a wonderful scene partner. And so getting a chance to do that between Alan Tudyk and Terry O'Quinn, Asta being in between these incredible actors, first of all, but also in this situation where they're like being they're throwing a tantrum. They're being like little boys about it, was really like a fun dichotomy of Sarah actually like taking in, like, I'm in between these amazing actors, and Asta in between these men who are like, being boyish. It was just a really beautiful, like, again, a layered cake to play with that day. And I'm so like sad in this most recent episode, spoiler if you haven't seen it yet, that Terry O'Quinn takes a spill, and it's like, it's so beautiful how it all works out, but I'm heartbroken that is probably my one and only scene I'll ever get with Terry O'Quinn. But I'm so glad it happened.
Yeah, of course. And what do you hope for in season 3? I presume you don't know too much, or at least you're probably not supposed to say too much.
Abe, I really don't know anything. And I say that wholeheartedly. I called Chris Sheridan the other day and I said, Chris, I have no idea what Asta needs to go through next. Like, I just have a blank canvas. I feel like all the mom-daughter stuff, all of the abandonment issues, all the grief, all the, abusive, like, ex, all of that led up to where she's at. And she has this real epiphany, with her mom being so shitty, that she sort of turns it all around. And so now I feel like she's had this release a little bit. And so I guess for me, I'm looking forward to her being a little bit lighter in season 3 and trying out things she's never tried before. Like, what does Asta do for a hobby? Like, what is she into? You know, in the pilot, we see her carrying a guitar case. Will we see her ever play that guitar? Like, what, you know, like, what, I don't know. What does she do? And I also am really, really interested in like a mall episode, like a mall rats resident alien episode, you know, even down to like where they're staring at the painting that's like going all over the place, you know, in mall rats, and they're trying to figure it out. Anyway, if we could also get Jay and Silent Bob on the show, that'd be great. But just shout out Jay and Silent Bob.
Or Silent Bob could be someone who meets the Jay you do have on the show. There could be some, you know, somebody.
Right. There you go. Abe, you're already writing it right now.
I saw that you also had a movie that came out earlier this year, Suicide for Beginners. Is that something that you think resident Alien fans will enjoy, or is it very different?
You know, it's a really, really dark comedy. I wasn't a big fan of the title, to be fair, just because I feel like it kind of gives the wrong impression, and suicide is no laughing matter, especially being an advocate for mental health. I just was very like tender about, you know, that title of the film. But I will say, if you dive in, if you do go and find it and search for it, it's actually really well done. It's very clever, and it's a very, very dark comedy about a guy who's in love with my character, and it's unrequited. So he takes it to the extreme, but he's really bad at it. He's really bad at trying to kill me, basically. He's like the worst serial killer that ever existed. So it's very funny. And I was just glad to see it come to fruition. I did that film, gosh, like, I don't know, 8 years ago. So that it's amazing. It just shows you like how long it can take sometimes in this town to really get it from script to screen. But I was just really, really proud of the whole team in the end. Was really grateful that they were able to get it on its feet.
That's great. And do you have anything else you're working on ahead of season 3?
My husband and I have a production company called In the Pocket Productions, and we are currently working on our first feature film. We've done a short film in 2016 that was really successful in the festival circuit, but now we're on to a feature film. There's a genre called folk horror. I don't know if you've heard of this, but it's all about isolation and getting a little bit inside the mind and playing tricks on you. And so we're dabbling in those dark arts for our feature film, and we are hopefully going to shoot that next year, but we'll see what happens with getting it on its feet as well. But that's what I'm working on in the meantime, and waiting like patiently, but also with like hands excited and ready for season 3.
Awesome. Well, I wish you plenty of luck with that. It's so great to get to talk about Resident Alien and Battlestar Galactica and everything, and look forward to doing it again soon.
Yes, Abe, so good to see you as always. Thank you.
Take care. Thank you.